folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. I'm your host, John, and E3 is over. We covered the games, we talked about them on the site, and now you're gonna hear it in your ears, our opinions of all the E3 press conferences. Joining me this week is Michael.
Hello, I'm not sleepy.
Don't lie.
I'm not. I'm grumpy.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
We have Ryan.
Hi, I'm dopey.
Okay. And we have Niall.
Hi, I'm angry. Was that one of them? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anger management dwarf.
Yeah, that's me.
Wonderful.
Chafy.
I'm pissed.
Chafy, pissy,
Scratchy.
Scratchy and chafy are the same one. People always confuse them. It's because he's chafing, but he's also scratching. It's very confusing.
Yes.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Laundry.
But yeah, laundry?
He's the one who does the laundry.
Someone's got to.
Yeah. There's a lot
Holy
of dwarves.
shit.
Someone has to do it.
Alright. But yeah, so E3 is done and over with. We just got this podcast to do and we're out of the woods. I figured it would be best if we just kind of dropped all pretenses and got straight to the action, talking about the press conferences and what we liked and what we didn't like. I'm gonna go like around the table here, ask everybody what they enjoyed and what they thought was lame, and hopefully that doesn't take 300 million years. Yes, the first press conference was EA. If you want to take a look at, like it would, if I were you, I would just like maybe look up what they announced for each conference. Look on the site, our site, or I don't know, Wikipedia or some shit. I'm not sure what would exactly have like a full list, but we'll just briefly talk about what we liked and what we didn't. Michael,
yeah,
I'd like to start with you.
Yes, I'm Yanni. I'm very good at what instrument?
It's Yarny, not Yanni.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Yarn Yoshi,
All right.
which fits really well into EA.
Yeah, we'll talk about Yarn Yoshi later, maybe. But Michael, what stood out to you from EA's press conference?
Well,
what was good and what wasn't?
The lack of Clarny was, I think, criminal. I expected Clarny to come out and threaten John directly. I was hoping for it, but it just didn't happen.
Clarny's just scared of the repercussions. Clarny knows that as soon as it steps out on the fucking stage, I'll be there with a sniper rifle.
Are you calling out Clarny? Are you throwing down the gauntlet to Clarny?
When am I not calling Clarny out?
All right. It's just saying, Clarny has ears and eyes everywhere. Clarny can see all, hears all, knows all. So Clarny's going to come up and, give you those hands. Those clay hands.
Clarny is going to have ears and eyes and every other body part all over the place when I'm done with that motherfucker.
Damn. Anyways, I don't know where to go from that. Electronic Arts. I hate to start the show with the showstopper. Well, we did with Clarny, but I hate to start the show with the showstopper and say that EA was like easily the worst of all of E3.
I'd agree.
Which was, I guess it was nice to get it out of the way, though at the time it was like, oh boy, if this is EA, what the fuck does everyone else have in store? But it was fine. It was average for EA. I didn't think they showed off anything too impressive, other than, and I'm pretty sure everyone's going to agree when I say A Way Out was the standout. Yeah, from the guy who made A Tale of Two Brothers. I don't know if it's the same dev studio or if it's just the same dude.
I think it's the same director, right?
Yeah, it's a different studio. I think EA helped him make a new studio, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
All right, they gave him a cardboard box and said, "You're another EA studio. Go. You're BioWare Stockholm.
Sweden.
Go." Yeah. Wow. All right. We all chose the same country. But yeah, that looked a lot like Brothers in ways I didn't think it would until it started to get further into that trailer. It's like, oh, all right, you're pushing up on the right stick for this brother and left on this stick for this brother. But yeah, it was that and Battlefront 2 that I thought still looked good. It still looked like Battlefront. And I think the worst part of EA was just the way they presented everything. I didn't really feel like I understood what Madden was about. I know that they introduced something new with it, but there was just drummers. Even FIFA, they kind of mentioned that, like, oh, we've been changing. Then they still have the story mode. But is it the same crappy one from last year's, or is it new and different?
It is. It's a continuation of last year's. So I'm ready to suffer again, because Jesus Christ, last year's was like the worst.
The Journey, right?
The Journey, yeah. Alex Hunter and his cadre of fucking dudes who look like thumbs that hang around me.
I'm the big thumb. But yeah, like even that stuff, which sells really well for him, or even Battlefront, it just kind of came off as like YouTubers. Like at Battlefront, I really don't understand, because the big thing of that is all the eras and the single player. And they showed off no single player except for a trailer, and the eras were shown off, but it's kind of like the best example of why canned gameplay demos work really well, because they do very good jobs of highlighting all your bullet points. And so watching iJustine, who I actually thought was a very good host, watching iJustine try and and whoever was directing it try and catch up to like someone doing something cool in one of the shots was just deflating. Of like, here's this guy flying around not shooting anything, he's just looking at the sky. Here's this dude playing as Darth Vader, and then this character from episode 7 comes in and dies instantly. Really showing off the new characters there, EA. It just, yeah, their whole presentation kind of deflated everything they showed off for me. And yeah, I was glad it was as short as it was, and I really hope this is the year they get the feedback from it and listen to it. But they didn't listen after last year's and the years before, so next year's more YouTubers, I guess.
Yeah, that YouTuber stuff was real rough. Is that all you got for EA?
That is my professional analysis of the Electronic Arts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, what are your opinions on the EA presentation?
I think Michael hit the nail on the head with EA. I think this is a press conference where there's really not much to go in a kind of a different direction from what Michael discussed, because I'm not really into racing games. I'm not into sports games. EA is generally not really my kind of thing, I suppose. So I agree that A Way Out looks pretty intriguing. I'd like to see more of that game. I'd like to see more of exactly how it works with the gameplay and such, as to what it is that you're actually doing at any given time. Because, we've seen a little bit of that, but if I remember correctly, we didn't see anybody, like, sitting down with a controller and, playing it like that. And I think that that's kind of what I most want to see come to fruition out of EA. I also agree that Battlefront 2 looks interesting. I really wanted to like that first game, but from what they've kind of shown of the second one, it seems like to a degree they've learned from their mistakes, I guess. I kind of would have appreciated it if they hadn't acted like adding in a single-player campaign was like the biggest inconvenience on Earth during their presentation. Because they showed like the whole thing with like John Boyega and then like all these tweets, and they were like, you kept telling us about it, so we're finally bringing it. Now will you just shut up about it already? Like, that's kind of the impression I got from all that, which is unfortunate, because I really want this to be something that there's a lot of, time and effort put into, and not just something that they've slapped onto a Battlefront game to sort of appease the masses. But you never know. I think if we had seen more of it, like Michael said, or like you said, or whoever said about the canned gameplay, if we had seen more of whatever the single-player campaign was, then I might be more confident in it. But right now, I still want to see more of that game, I think, before I commit to picking it up later this year, whenever it is that it's coming out. But I agree that A Way Out looks great. That's definitely my sort of winner chicken dinner from the EA conference. In terms of stuff that didn't impress me so much, I don't really know what it is that EA's doing, trying to put story modes into all of their sports games, because it seemed like that was something they were really angling for this year, kind of continuing that that is his name, right? Alex Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of continuing the Alex Hunter story, adding whatever it was with the dude in Madden, something in the basketball game about like NBA 1 or the 1 or whatever that was called. That's like, they talked a lot about player choice affecting the game at their conference, which I thought was a little bizarre for their various sports games, but I guess we'll see how that sort of resolves itself. If the journey was any indication from what Niall has said, then I'm a little bit afraid as to these story modes in these sports games, or at least to this kind of increased sort of player narrative thing that they've got going on. But overall, I think EA was fine. I mean, I don't think it was a bad conference per se, but I do think it was by far the weakest out of everything that was shown at E3 this year. And I'm not really sure I have much else to say about it, so I'll go ahead and toss it back to you, John, and we can keep this ball rolling.
All right, thank you very much. Niall, do you have any opinions on the EA conference?
I'm not as down on EA's conference as everyone else seems to be, but I agree that it was definitely the weakest by a long way. Like I said, I'm not thrilled that the journey is being continued. Mostly because, like, the main issue I had with that thing was that it was trying to tell a rise, fall, and rise again story, but there was no fall. So it was like, oh, this awful thing that's happened to you is actually not an awful thing, and it's just a thing that happens to every professional athlete. And I actually think Madden's story seems to be maybe a little more interesting, but again, like, based on the way they tried to tell what looks like it's kind of a similar-ish story in FIFA last year, I have trouble thinking that that's going to be great in Madden either. I think A Way Out was definitely the highlight of that whole conference. Like, nothing else really looked amazing to me, but nothing really looked terrible. I was really happy to see that Need for Speed is basically a Burnout game now. Like, it's got the takedowns and everything. That's a nice thing to have, because Burnout is great. I thought that the Battlefront presentation was weird because, like you said, the whole thing with iJustine and those other dudes was, like, awkward and strange. But then you had Janina Gavankar, who did a pretty good job, I thought, like, in much the way that Aisha Tyler has done in the past, where it's clear that, like, she's enthusiastic about the games that she's showing off, but is also capable of standing in front of a crowd and speaking in a way that, like, game devs are not. So, like, I thought that could have... Yeah, like, there was that dude, I forget what game it was. Was it Need for Speed?
I think it was Need for Speed, yeah.
Yeah, and he was, like, very, very awkward and, like, flubbing his lines really badly, and it was painful to watch. So I was glad to at least see them trot someone out on stage for Battlefront who can speak and who is enthusiastic and knows what she's talking about. And that's a nice change for a press conference, and we could have used more of that, to be honest. And we could continue to use more of that. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought EA was kind of a flat press conference by and large. You know,
Yeah.
it was a lot of stuff that looked fine and a lot of the usual EA garbage as well. Like a lot of too much time spent on sports when they're not actually saying anything about sports. But at least there was no Pele, I guess, this year. But yeah, a Way Out aside, I don't think there was anything there that was really great looking. But even A Way Out, like, I had forgotten A Way Out existed from the time EA's press conference ended until we were sitting down to write our, like, best and worst impressions from the show, when I remembered, oh yeah, there was that thing at EA that was good.
I forgot Need for Speed was announced until
Yeah,
Ryan
right?
just
Like-
mentioned it. I completely just skipped it.
Yeah, like, I think that's the big issue that EA had, was that their press conference was just, it didn't have any impact to it, you know, which I guess that's a loss for them. Like, you know, like, it could have been better, definitely, but
Sure, yeah.
it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as previous EA showings have been. And it definitely could have used maybe another game or two that had some sort of soul to it, because it's the same thing that I said last year about Ubisoft. There's so much stuff that Ubi and EA specifically show every year, and none of it ever seems to have a heart. You know, or maybe they have one game, like you had Unravel a couple of years ago, and I guess like A Way Out this year, but so much of it feels like it's formulaic in a way. Like, even looking at what they showed for Need for Speed, it was like, oh, the UI is just an EA UI. You know, like, everything about it looks like an EA game.
Yeah.
There's no flair to it. There's nothing unique about it. And I think that's a big thing they need to address. But other than that, yeah, it was just a press conference, really, more than anything else.
It's a lot of summer blockbusters and no like heartfelt Oscar bait. Like,
Right.
it's in, and I think that's where they run into trouble, where if they put all their bet into into these like 4 or 5 big films or big games, to bridge the analogy, and one of them fails, then they have to worry about that fiscal quarter and investors all of a sudden. And you need those little tent poles beneath to kind of not only to win people's hearts and minds, but to also, like, hey, we're putting money over here too. We like these games too, and they're clearly making that effort. It's just it's too little. It just, they need more to sprinkle throughout that conference and make me not forget that all these other things existed.
Yeah. What they need is a Skate 4. Honestly, they do.
Yeah, I think Skate 4 would go a long way to like get some attitude into that conference, or just like tease one of those Star Wars games. Like, I think we all kind of expected it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, it's hard to start a studio and then tease a game, and it's, you know, we'll get to it, but there are other conferences where they tease games that aren't coming anytime soon, and that's maybe not the best strategy, but something to make you think EA is. I mean, that conference was, I guess, all this year, so maybe that's just all they're doing, and they don't need E3. I mean, they don't. They're outside of it, so maybe their emphasis just wasn't as much on this conference as the others. Maybe they just said, let's not put all our chips here. I don't know.
All right. That's the EA conference. Well, I should share my opinions as well. I almost forgot.
No. You're the non-opinion dwarf.
Look,
Jeez,
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I kind of just agree with y'all. I mean, I thought it was just A Way Out and Battlefront for me. I mean, we might talk about it more during the Xbox thing, but I thought Anthem looked pretty cool. But, you know, that was actually shown during the Xbox conference.
It was strange that they defaulted to Xbox I don't know. I like to take BioWare, like going back to Niall's point of like that can be some heart, even though it looks a little generic and like a Destiny, like it still looks neat. That can have some heart, and I don't know why they just pass it off to Xbox. Anyways,
Yeah, but I mean, the YouTubers were awful. Like the fact that they were like touting, like they were like, "You're in just a couple of hours, you'll be able to see the content that your favorite YouTuber made right here," and it's like, oh my god, that's got
that works for. I mean, that has to work for someone. Like that they wouldn't do it if they didn't think that would work. And if they make all those people happy, then maybe those people will be influenced in the ways that they've never been able to actually influence video game journalists. So I don't know.
The influencers.
Damn.
Oh boy.
Influence.
But yeah, so speaking of the Xbox conference, that was the next conference. Ryan, let's start with you this time.
All right. I thought the Xbox conference was generally pretty solid. I don't really. Here's the thing about this E3 conference this year that I'll just kind of get off the bat right now. Until the last couple conferences, like Sony and Nintendo, there was really not a whole lot that personally connected with me this year at E3. There wasn't a lot of games that I saw that really made my jaw drop. There wasn't anything, like I said, with a few exceptions, there wasn't anything I saw that I thought, wow, I have to buy this game. I have to play this game. This is something that I am already invested in. And so for me to say that Microsoft had a good showing, I say that in the sense that I thought technically it was better than, last year. I think they had better games. I think that for them to get PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds as a Xbox exclusive was an amazing grab for them. I think that is going to be a great game for them as an exclusive. Like State of Decay, not a huge fan. Metro, I've played one of those games and I enjoyed it, so that was kind of cool. Minecraft, I mean, it's 2017, so I'm not too jazzed about that, but I'm sure there's some people who are. The Assassin's Creed, I've never been much into that franchise, but what I saw of this one this year kind of had me raising like a single eyebrow, like just kind of a little bit, like not a full raised eyebrow, but like a half one maybe. So I probably still won't play that game, but it seemed interesting. Part of that may just be because I'm always interested in ancient Egypt stuff. I just like it. What else? I mean, there's plenty that got announced, but I'm sure some of y'all will talk about this in more depth than I will. Like I said, I think this was better than I remember Microsoft being in the past. I'm not sure I saw their conference last year, or maybe the year before that. There was one of the last 2 years when I didn't see what they did. I know one of them, which I think was the year before last, they had the people come out in the Plants vs. Zombies costumes and dance like Danger Zone on the stage.
Yeah.
Was that 2015 that happened?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it was right after Unravel. I remember.
Yes, I remember that.
That was EA.
Yeah, that was EA.
Yeah, EA. Okay, I get them confused. But anyway, in terms of Microsoft, I think it's fine. I think on the prediction podcast, I may have mentioned Cuphead, and that actually did get a release date announced. So that's one thing I guess we can check off the list of our correct predictions on here. In terms of anything that like stood out to me from a negative standpoint, there wasn't really much. I think the only thing I worry about with Microsoft is they previewed that Sea of Thieves gameplay, and even though it seemed pretty high energy at the presentation, it had the the narration and the people doing like the team chat and all that. Or did that have team chat this year, or was that the year before?
It did.
That was the year before. I don't think there was. There wasn't like team chat. There was a narrator.
Yeah,
It was just like talking over everything.
Because I think last year there was some boat game that had team chat going on. I'm pretty sure it was Sea of Thieves, but
It was Sea of Thieves last year, yeah.
Yeah. The point being is that what I saw of that game looked interesting, but it seems like the kind of game where it takes you a lot of time to move between stuff. Because all that demo was them getting off the boat, walking to pick up the treasure chest, and then basically walking back and killing a few skeletons. And I don't know, I don't think it would be as exciting to play as it is to watch, if that makes any sense.
So, I've seen some video and heard some people who played it, and it seems like more of a game, not necessarily about... Like, the object of the game is to go get those treasure chests, bring it to your ship, and bring it back to, I forget where.
Sure.
And you do it with your crew, and you can do it with your friends, or you can do it in public, with public people, with regular Joes. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, because that sounds like terrible, but whatever.
Yeah.
And it seems like it totally, like, that's the aim of the game, but you don't need to do that. It seems almost akin, like, in some ways, to a much more structured Minecraft of, here is this world, here are these dumb things you can do in it. Do you want to run around and shoot sharks in the water? Here you go. Do you want to, like, just go around in your pirate ship and grief other pirates? Go right ahead. Do you want to stalk other pirates as they sail out, and as soon as they get the treasure, just blow them out of the water and then steal their treasure and hightail it out of there? Like,
yeah,
it seems more of, like, to use a generic term, like sandbox. It does seem like a piratey sandbox, and I don't know if that'll be good, but it seems interesting.
Yeah, it seems unique, and I think that's partially what my kind of mental block was with this game, was seeing something on the screen but not really connecting it to what the objective of that game was.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know too much about that game, but you saying it's a more open world kind of thing makes sense in tandem with what I had seen, because watching it, I was kind of wondering, is this the objective of this game? Is this a thing? Do you just walk around with your friends? Like, what is this exactly? And knowing that, I think that sort of kind of retroactively improves my opinion on it, but I'm still not entirely sure from what we saw that there's enough there to convince me that this will be an entertaining enough game with all this stuff in it. Because, it was a very limited demo, and that's just sort of the nature of E3 productions, but I still can't help but worry about it. And, I don't know, we'll just see how that turns out when it comes out. Like I said, in terms of Microsoft, there's nothing that immediately jumps to mind as being a poor showing or a game that I just didn't want to see, I suppose. So, not too bad for them this year. I think it was a good conference for Microsoft.
Okay. Niall, how about you?
I think the big thing, as far as Microsoft went, was I was really glad to see them just focus on games this year. Like, they ran through the Scorpio at the beginning, and, that was expected, but with the exception of maybe Forza, they just showed trailer, and I thought that was smart on their part, because the knock against the Xbox for a long time now has been, where are the games that I can only play on the Xbox? And sure, like, most of their stuff is also going to be on PC, if not all of it, but it was smart of them to just show a lot of fucking games. Like, I thought that was a really good move on their part, and sort of soften the blow of the Scorpio price, or the 1X price, I guess, at this point. I do think 500 is a little much, but it's kind of what I was expecting as well.
Yeah.
As far as the games themselves go, I thought they were mostly pretty decent. The only one that stood out to me as, like, aggressively no thank you, was the Darwin project, I think it's called. They didn't even announce the name during the show.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I don't. They didn't announce what it was actually called during the show. They just had that guy screaming.
They showed it. They showed the title.
Yeah,
did they? Oh,
they
okay.
didn't say
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it was in the trailer.
Yeah, but that guy just screaming at the top of his lungs, like Mr. Caffeine on cocaine, was just the worst. Like maybe the single worst presentation of a game during the whole show. But although I mean the game itself doesn't look terrible, maybe it was just the presentation of it. But that was pretty rough. I really liked what we saw of The Artful Escape. We didn't see much of what that was, but in terms of its look and its soundtrack and what it seems to be going for, I'm all in on that. Like, I hope that is as interesting to play as it is conceptually. Ori, I really liked the first Ori game, so Will of the Wisps, I will definitely pick that up and give it a try, because I like the original Ori is a gorgeous game, and it does things with that genre that most Metroidvanias, or whatever you want to call them, don't do, and I'm really looking forward to trying that. What else? PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was a big get, I think, for them. You know, if it sounds as if that thing is not going to be coming to PS4 at all, which is a huge thing, because that game has sort of become this phenomenon in PC circles. So if they can maybe shift a few Xbox units for people like to play that game on console, which I think it might benefit from that move, because it is clunky on PC as is. Streamlining that game might be a great thing for it. I'm actually like kind of excited to see what happens with the Life is Strange prequel, because I was kind of hard on that game when I reviewed it a couple of years ago, but at its core, I still thought there was something there. And I think Chloe is definitely a more interesting character than Max was. So playing as her and going into her past is something that I'm looking forward to and will definitely try out. I hope the dialogue sounds like human beings this time, because that was a big problem. Minecraft is Minecraft. Crackdown was a weird one. I don't know that Terry Crews standing there yelling at me was the right move for that game, but I don't care about Crackdown either, so like,
sure,
whatever. But yeah, I think it was a very smart conference on their part, just to show games and not to spend lengthy periods like they've done in the past, sort of evangelizing their
teraflops.
Yeah, like nobody really cares about numbers and everything else as long as the games look good, and for the most part what they showed looked good. So I think that was about as successful as they needed to be.
Anything that you wanted to specifically complain about or not?
I guess the last night, which looked great, and then everything about the people making that game came out, and that was kind of a disappointment. I thought Forza 7, the reveal or some of the stage show parts of Forza 7 were sort of unintentionally very, very funny. When they revealed that Porsche and they had the like smash cuts and the lights and everything, I thought just the way that was shot and framed was really funny. But that's just me laughing at the production as opposed to the game, so whatever. it was definitely Microsoft's best showing in a while. So
Sure. All right, thank you. Michael, do you have any opinions?
I do. I thought this was, I agree with everyone. It was their best show in the last couple of years. I think it builds on what they've been doing the last couple of years. I don't think, and I don't know who did it, if it's been Phil Spencer or if it's just been an entire change within the Xbox division or what. But it is very clear they do not view the current state of video game console manufacturing, or just video games in general. They do not view themselves as an underdog. They stopped playing the console wars that Sony, and we'll get to them, is still playing. They have just said, hey, where would you like to play your video games? You like to play video games on PC? Cool, our video games are there. Do you like to play games on consoles? Well, hey, we have a very good console here. It's just as good as the PS4. Or do you want to play the best console you can get your hands on? Give us all the money in your wallet. Here you go. Like, do you not give a shit about ordering separate parts and putting them together? Because those people do exist. And here you go. Here's this console for you. You have a 4K TV. Do you love watching movies in 4K? Well, get this thing. You can stream Netflix on it. You can play 4K... what are they called? They're not 4K. Are they 4K Blu-rays?
I think so.
UHDs?
Yeah, UHD Blu-rays, yes.
Okay, yeah. Ultra high def. Like, that is clearly their play. And the more you hear Phil Spencer talk, the more I've started to understand of, like, they are making like a weird unifying hippie vision of video games. Like, they announced original Xbox games. You can play over 300 or 400 different 360 games on your Xbox One. Now, here's this crazy ultra, consumer device. Also, all this stuff is playable on PC, which maybe hints that one day your 360 and original Xbox... I think Phil Spencer hinted that original Xbox games could come to PC. That's weird. And I think this conference was kind of that forward push of... hey, we're not always going to have first party. We can't rely on Halo and Gears forever. So we can do one of two things. We can buy a bunch of studios, buy a bunch of third-party exclusives, or we can make our games for everyone and make our game, just make it so easy to make stuff for our console, so easy to make stuff for PC that we, by proxy, can get every game. It'll just be so cheap to port over a PS4 game or a Switch game or a PC game like PUBG. It'll just be so easy to do it. We'll just be the place to go. And I think that's their strategy. And I think it's a really cunning one. I think that's why they didn't go for the jugular and they didn't announce $399 for the One X. I know they're still losing money on the $499, but I thought they would go for the jugular and try to just win this thing. I don't think they care anymore. I think they just want kind of like, yo, man, you like video games? You play them over there? That's dope. Like, I don't think they give... like, the Xbox One is still selling like crazy. It's still selling better than the 360. They really don't have a reason to worry. So they are just not worrying and focused on video games. And that's... they did it a bit last year. They kind of did it the year before. And they really did it this year. And I thought they had the really good balance of talking about games and their philosophy and the new Xbox One X, but also here's showing games without it being just 30 minutes of trailers, because that's not helpful. You're not portraying anything. You're just showing trailers. Even if it was a weird dude yelling esports at the entire audience for like 20 minutes, whatever the fuck that was. So yeah, like that's what stood out to me was, here are first party games. Here's State of Decay. Here's Sea of Thieves. Here's Minecraft. Here's what it'll look like in 4K. Here's Forza. But also, here's Metro. Like, we're going to be the place that people announce a Metro. We're going to be the place that people announce, show off Assassin's Creed for the first time. Or Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Like, crazy games that, if you didn't see the leaks, like, are surprises. You know, that Lord of the Rings game, Shadow of something. Shadow of War. Like, that was shown off for the first time, like, really in-depth with that weird, jokey trailer. So I think this was, from where they were just a couple of years ago to where they are now, and where they sit in the industry at large, I think it was exactly what they needed to do. I don't think they could have done any better. It fits the philosophy that they're going after. You know, at the time I thought, like, hey, this was strong. And now on the other end of things, having gone through all of E3 and seen what everyone else has to offer, you know, that was the strongest, especially among the three console manufacturers. That was the strongest. Certainly the biggest, like, difference of, like, my, like, everyone's opinion beforehand and everyone's opinion afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with Nintendo, there was some apprehension, maybe, with the Switch, but with Microsoft, everyone had written them off, I feel like. And now I think some people are looking at them differently, like, oh, okay, video games, right, you have them. I think it changed some minds. And so if I think that's a really important goal that they hit with a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Other than that, I kind of agree with everyone else. I also think they had a very good mix of games.
Yes.
Like Minecraft and Life is Strange are kind of, well, maybe not Minecraft, but Life is Strange is certainly a niche game. Like, not everyone will like that game, and not everyone will lose their minds when they see Life is Strange on an E3 stage, but they put Life is Strange on an E3 stage. Like, what? That's crazy. Yeah. And they did it. You know, they put indie games on E3 stages again. Like, it really feels like like they're just welcoming all games with open arms. Like, just come on in, whoever it is, get in here, put on this T-shirt. It says you've witnessed the most powerful console in the world. Don't worry about it. You're in a cult now. Anyways, go out that door and your game's published. Done. Like, they're very good at that. They suddenly seem like the place to be.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it was nice to see them promise, like, a diverse lineup of games and actually have it this year, as opposed to a diverse lineup of games that really means a bunch of different looking shooters. Like, there was actually real diversity in their lineup this year, which was great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. In my opinion, I thought some of the best stuff that they showed, like that Ori bit where they just had the guy come out and play the piano, was really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, my big answer for what I really loved was Dragon Ball. You know, like that initial trailer, you know, like I was more interested in, like, seeing the, like, gameplay that was coming off the show floor, but, like, seeing that first trailer, seeing that game in action, and realizing, like, holy shit, they are really, really doing it, just blew me away. Like, I love everything about that game. Like, the fact that they're, like, recreating comic panels from the original manga, like...
Yeah.
Like, one of Frieza's super moves is that he has to hit himself with the Destructo disc like he does in the show. Like, that's just great. I love that, and just, like, I don't know. I'm so excited for that game. And I'm really glad that they showed it on the Xbox at the conference. I'm really glad Cuphead's coming out in
September.
Pretty soon.
September,
yeah. But yeah, as for the negatives, I mean, this is gonna be a weird one, but Shadow of War is almost a negative for me because, like, I was, like, a little interested in the original Shadow of Mordor, and after seeing this Shadow of War trailer, there's just something about it that makes me wish it was, like, it makes me wish it was less macho or less just, like, up its own ass, because
Lord of the Rings up its own ass? What are you talking about?
Well, just because, like, watching that trailer and just, like, seeing, like, how much fun those orc characters were, it made me want, like, the main character to not be this fucking like stick up his own ass character who's like enslaving them. It's like I wish he was just like befriending them or something. I know that's such a fucking stupid fucking thing to say.
You're coming to the wrong game asking for that, dude. Like, did you play the first one?
I know.
Yeah,
no.
Go play Undertale, Joe.
Yeah. Jeez.
I know,
want
but
to
like,
be nice and friend all the bad guys.
I know that I'm asking for the wrong thing from that, but like, it made like, and I guess I'm just weird for thinking that, but yeah, like I just saw that and I was just like, it's so fucking awkward that like this game is trying to make you like feel buddy with these characters when you're fucking brainwashing them, and then a second later they're just like, well, now we're friends, and it's like, oh, that's so weird. Like, just
to clarify it, one, those are really bad things. Like, they only exist because evil created them. So, like, I think you're basing your thing just off that trailer, and I think
like, I know Lord of the Rings lore. Don't get me wrong.
And I think that trailer did a really poor job of couching the rest of the game. I think what they were trying to do was show, like, look how wacky their personalities are this time. Because last time they did have those bosses had really interesting personalities, and they felt like individual orcs. They did not feel like copy paste different parts put together. They felt like they had personalities. So I think they're trying to highlight that, and in doing so they tried to have a light moment in a game that is not comedic.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think that game, what you're looking at is the highlighted part, and in reality that doesn't exist. It's spread out much more over like a 40 to 50 hour game, where, like, you know, in context, those orcs are terrible beings that have taken over someone else's land. So you're right. Like, in that trailer, that was a really weird trailer. It was also weird when you would brainwash them and they would talk about, like, I still want to murder you. Like, what? Like, that brainwashing is not very good on that one orc for some reason. That trailer was really strange, because I have seen a demo or some sort of coverage of it months ago. And it looks neat. Like, they've really expanded the Nemesis system in really crazy ways to include, like, how you take on castles, or I forget what they call them, but essentially castles, and how you approach them, and how you have an army with you now. You have your own Nemesis system, I guess. And they didn't show any of that. They kind of, like, I think maybe there's some clips, but it was all just Spice Marine kind of orcs yelling at you.
Yeah. See, I agree with what John said and what you said, Michael, because that was kind of my problem with that trailer watching it, is like, it was so doofy to me. Like, it was too lighthearted for what I kind of expected from that game, I think. Like, the orcs, like, watching that at the time, I thought it was by far some of the worst dialogue I had ever heard in anything, like, period. But, like, looking back on it, it's a little more clear to me that they were really pushing to say, like, hey, like, they're kind of, you know, they're kind of unique personalities, but like you said, Michael, maybe they just picked the wrong personality to show for that. I think it gives kind of the wrong impression of, like, what that game is to a degree.
I wonder if they got some feedback from the first one and said it was boring. Like, people just have this idea that Lord of the Rings is dry and boring. So I wonder if that was their attempt to say, look, jokes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right. And then, I agree with Niall, where, like, finding out that the last night people are just fucking complete shitholes was a bummer, but
that has, I mean, that's outside of the conference, though. That's not.
I know.
Microsoft can't control idiots.
I know. I'm just saying. It's still a bit of a bummer. All right. So Bethesda's conference was next. Yeah. Niall, we'll start with you this time.
Great. That sure was a press conference, I guess. God, it was bad. Like, how many more times do we need Skyrim, honestly?
None.
Like,
None times.
4 or 5?
I would quite happily never see or hear about Skyrim or Fallout 4 again for as long as I fucking live. Like,
So let me tell you about the world of Skyrim.
Oh,
See,
God.
you start the game and you're in prison. Now that's unique, but only to every other Elder Scrolls game. And then you're with a dude who's really important, but his mouth is covered, so he can't talk through like thin cloth. And then a dragon comes, and then you're released. And then you're suddenly a cat man, and you're running around, and you're a cat man, and then you're in a castle, and then you sneak out the other end of the castle.
Michael, I beg you.
And then
I beg you.
Michael, I know this is
stone.
like a bit. I know this is a bit, but I feel like my brain is like coming apart in my head right now, and it's just gonna like squelch out of my nose, and then Niall's gonna have to edit the sound of it coming out of my head off the podcast because this is the worst thing I have heard this whole week.
I'm only like an hour into like an 80-hour game.
you're
I
not
beg
even an
you.
hour in, you're like 20 minutes in.
You're like 5 minutes in.
I beg you. Let's move on.
Fine.
Holy shit. Niall, please.
It'd be cooler in VR.
No.
Bethesda. It's a company. Todd Howard wasn't there. He wasn't there to lie to us this year. They showed stuff, I guess. I thought the Bethesda Land thing was an interesting idea. It could have worked better if they'd had more to show.
I agree, yeah.
Like trotting out, here's a bunch of stuff that we released 3 times already. Aren't you excited for this? Like, no. Wolfenstein looked good. Evil Within looked like a sequel to Evil Within, which wasn't a great game. So, apart from Wolfenstein, there wasn't an awful lot there. Thankfully, Wolfenstein looks great. Aside from that, there was nothing. It's great to see BJ Blazkowicz back killing Nazis, but what else can you say about that show? It was nothing.
Michael, would you like to share your opinions on Bethsoft?
Bethesda? Yeah. I thought it was like EA. I just thought it was bland. I agree with Niall, but the Bethesda Land stuff was nice. That was a good way to kind of put it, like, caveat everything and like couch everything in this nice little gimmick. I think we all went in kind of knowing it was an off year. That other than Quake Champions, the only thing we knew about for sure was that we could guess was Wolfenstein 2, and then Evil Within 2 was like leaked right before, so we kind of expected that going in, and just it is what it is. When you have an off year, you have an off year. Like I think they did fine for what they had. I have no clue what the hell the outside carnival thing was. Like, Bethesda Land was real. They had carnival things. That conference was outside. I don't understand any of that.
See, with how much I had heard about them having the conference outside, like waiting for it to get dark, like having the Bethesda Land shit, I thought that conference was going to be a lot more bombastic than it actually was, because that's a hell of a lot of stuff to set up for announcing 5 games, 3 of which we probably knew about already.
See, I thought it was the opposite. When I heard all that, I was like, oh, this is the thing they get you to come watch their conference.
Yeah.
Like, this is the jangly keys so that you get into the car to go to the vet's office. Like, this is, we're just the fucking family dog to them. It was okay. I know the first Evil Within was not well regarded at all, but I like that it can get a second chance. It's something that always sticks in my craw with like TV shows, where they cancel TV shows before the first season ends. And I hate that, because a lot of TV shows need a season or 2. And I think some new IP, like if you're going to invest that much money, like try it. Like keep going. Like it's not going to hurt you. Well, it could cost a lot of money. But I guess the first Evil Within sold enough that they decided to make another one. And maybe they'll do right by it. Maybe they'll really give it a chance, or maybe it'll just be another crappy game that people buy. I don't know. A lot of that conference was a blur up until Wolfenstein. It was just me nodding, going like, yeah, yep, there's Fallout VR, yeah, there's Skyrim VR, yep, you announced that last year, okay, yeah, there's Prey, sure, there's Dishonored, sure, yeah, keep them on coming. Like, I don't know what else you do. There's Quake Champions, cool, all right. It's just an off year. I guess next year we'll get whatever they have coming afterwards. This is the year that, since this is like the third year going for them with E3 press conferences, this was the year that I bet someone somewhere was like, I told you we shouldn't do these. We have nothing to show. So when they did it a couple years ago, people were like, what are they going to show? And then they did it last year. Like, what are they going to show? This is the year everyone should have asked, no, really, what are you going to show? Because that Wolfenstein trailer would have been fine in any other press conference.
Yeah.
But hey, Wolfenstein, I think if you had asked me before that Wolfenstein 2 trailer what I thought of the first Wolfenstein, I would have said it was really good. And after watching that second Wolfenstein 2 trailer, it was like, I want to go back and play the first one and then have the second one in my hands right away. Mm-hmm. I want to shoot and blow things up. Yeah. Doom is a different kind of game, and Wolfenstein certainly has its own attitude and sense and feeling to it. So I really want to play that game. Other than that, it was like, to me, it was just like EA, where they announced a bunch of games and a bunch of stuff, and I just shrugged my shoulder through most of it and said, "Sure, okay."
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
All right. Ryan.
Yeah, Michael, you say they announced a bunch of games. I would put bunch in very heavy quotation marks if I were you.
I mean, they announced a bunch of stuff about games, is what I meant. They announced a bunch of things.
Yeah, I don't really know how to tackle Bethesda as a conference. First off, I agree with you, Michael, that the Bethesda Land stuff was kind of like a couching of this. The fact that they only had 30 minutes of content, and that between every little conference they did like a 20-second bridge of like animation and such, just to kind of distract you from the fact that Todd Howard's not there and they don't have jack to announce, more or less. I also agree that I kind of had my hopes up for this conference because as much as I can complain about Bethesda, I do have a soft spot for them as a company. I did want to see more from them this year, considering how high level and bombastic their previous 2 years were, but as we kind of discussed, you can't have that every year. You're going to have off years. You're going to have stuff where, like this year, you really don't need your own conference to announce it. If they had just put Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein in literally any other presser, then I don't think it would have been as underwhelming as it seems, because they had to have their own look at us, we're Bethesda thing for what is admittedly not a whole lot of announcement. Doom VR, great, fine. Fallout 4 VR, whatever. I agree with Niall, who has kind of stolen my thunder on the whole Skyrim thing. I never want to see that game again for the rest of my life. I'm tired of it. When it came out, I think it was a fine game. It was a Bethesda game, but I kind of discussed this in an article we put up on the site for our most and least impressive games. I think that 6 years out, that game has not aged well at all, especially with stuff like The Witcher 3 and great, fantastic fantasy RPGs coming out since then. I can't imagine who will buy that game, but I don't want to. I don't want to think that all these Skyrim re-releases will be successful, but I know they will be, because people will just buy them. But in terms of the positive stuff, I mean, come on, like Wolfenstein, I mean, there's not even an argument here. There's not even, I think, a discussion to be had about that. It was undoubtedly both, in my opinion, the best game of the Bethesda conference and one of the best looking games announced this year at all in any conference. So I'm really excited to play that. The first game I got when I bought my PS4 a few years ago was actually the first Wolfenstein game, and I still haven't finished it. So I am definitely going to go back and finish that and play it. I know y'all kind of talked about the middling reception to Evil Within 2. I'm curious about that game. I bought the first one recently because it was on sale for $14 on the PlayStation Network, and I figured I might as well try it because I've been curious about it. And, you know, it's the guy from Resident Evil. I know it's got middling reception, but you never know. Sometimes you play a game and it's not great. Sometimes you watch a movie, it's not great, and that's just life. But I kind of want to play that and decide for myself how I feel about it. Other than that, it was by far, I think, the most underwhelming out of the entire kind of E3 Nexus this year. There really just wasn't enough substance to kind of justify it having a press conference, even a 30-minute press conference. So that was disappointing all around. But, you know, Wolfenstein looks good. So if nothing else, we got that out of it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I thought that the Bethesda Land thing was really cute. I liked the like little intro thing where they had like all the kids like talking about their parents and all that. That was nice. I've never played Evil Within, but that trailer was fantastic. I really like that trailer. And you know, I'd be willing to give at least the sequel a shot. I mean, it's Shinji Mikami. I really like Resident Evil 4. I really like Shadows of the Damned, so I'd love to check out his stuff. Fuck yeah, Wolfenstein. Like, basically, during that entire trailer, I was just, like, fist pumping, like, fuck yeah, go for it. Woo, yeah, like, that was just, like, a high-octane, feel-good trailer. I liked it a lot. But yeah, fuck Skyrim forever, now and forever. So sick of it. I also don't really care about what they're doing in VR. Like, I love Doom, but that Doom VR thing just looks like it's gonna make everybody throw up. Fallout VR is probably fine, I guess, but it's Fallout 4. So, you know, whatever. The next one we can talk about is Ubisoft. So I hope everybody's ready for that.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, we're back to you, Michael.
Hi.
How do you feel about Ubisoft?
Ubisoft? Yeah. You mean Vivendi?
Be nice.
What? They're going to be owned by Vivendi. I thought Ubisoft did incredible for their pedigree of E3 press conferences. Compared to those, it's night and day. I thought it was very touching at times. I thought it was very... it was a very good way to bridge the gap between the people who make video games and the people who like video games. And I think it's that gap that causes a lot of anger and frustration on the part of fans. Some of it is just people being shitty on the internet, but some of it is just not understanding how games are made, how games are chosen to be made, how the business works. So they get upset. And I think bridging that gap, or at least reminding people that, hey, these are human beings, is a good step. So I think Ubisoft did a pretty good job of trying to at least show that, hey, we are dead, and part of it is to say fuck you to Vivendi, but it's nice to see all the devs get at least a brief second or two or moment or two to say, I'm the producer of this game, I'm the director of this game, I'm the intern, they make me get all the coffee, whoever it is, to get their chance on stage. Overall, I thought their lineup isn't very strong. I know people really went gaga over this conference, but I think this conference had a very good start with Mario and Rabbids, which never thought I would say that I want to play Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle like right fucking now. I want to play that game. Holy shit, I want to play that game. I never thought I would say that. But Ubisoft did a very good job with spectacle. Miyamoto coming out with the gun at his side. I can't imagine what I would have thought if I didn't know what that game already was. Just Miyamoto coming out with a gun? Miyamoto's here to kill Ubisoft. He's gonna kill Yves right on this fucking stage and say, I own this now. I don't know why he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he is. But their lineup was kind of weak. Like The Crew 2, that Elijah Wood is Inside Your Brain game, the Not Sea of Thieves game, Steep stuff, toy. I actually thought the toy game, whatever that was, I thought that looked really... Starlink. I thought that looked neat. I thought that was... Like, if I was 12, I would go crazy over that. Like, actually have the toy and have it play in the game, that seems awesome.
I'll be honest, all I could think about while I was watching that trailer was, oh my god, people are going to be dropping that shit constantly, because it, like, attaches to your controller.
Yeah.
I would just be like, oh god, like, especially for the Switch version, because that controller is, like, pretty narrow. I can't even imagine playing that. Like, oh my god, that would be snapping off, like, constantly.
Yeah. I was not impressed by Far Cry 5. I think it looks neat. I just don't know if I'm ready to play another Far Cry. And from what I've seen of the demo, or the gameplay they were showing and letting people play at E3, it just seems like more Far Cry, but now you can watch cows humping.
Finally.
Yeah, alright, well, Ryan will be fucking nude every second he's playing Far Cry 5. I like that it's in a new setting, in a new place. Hopefully that can change some of the theming of that game. But if all you're doing in that game is the same thing you were doing in 4 and in 3, I don't know if I want to play it. I might let that go until it's $40 or $20 a year or so from now, and I've got a week to kill, and I don't really care about finishing it. It just that's clearly one of their tentpoles. It is their big game. They have this nice, fancy, bright one. It's Mario & Rabbids. They have this nice racing one, and then they have this hardcore one that's Far Cry, and it's just that's the one that. Like, The Crew could get it right, but Far Cry, like, if that's all that is, just another Far Cry game, I don't know if I want that. I want them to think, like, especially when they change the setting. Change some things up. Reinvent yourself a little. You've run into this problem before. It was called Assassin's Creed, and you had to take the day off. Assassin's Creed looks fine. I'd have to get my hands on it to know exactly what has changed and what hasn't changed. Then again, I haven't played Assassin's Creed in a couple iterations, so who knows? I like the idea of leveling up, and I like some of the stuff they've shown, but if that game is just more Ghost Recon-y, more Tom Clancy than it is Assassin's Creed, I don't know if I want to play it.
Sure, yeah.
There is something neat to the core Assassin's Creed formula, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have revisited it. I'm just not sure if that direction is the right direction. But I guess we'll see in a few months. And then Evil Within, I thought was a really nice cap to it.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Yes, right. Sorry, I was exchanging one shitty sequel for another shitty sequel.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I thought that was a really good moment. And I know they were showing what is akin to a tech demo, but Michel Ancel described it as day 0 of development, which is clearly not the case because he has art, and they have a tech demo, so it's not day 0. But
they had some kind of playable thing behind closed doors.
It was not playable. It was a closed door demo where Michel Ancel or whoever from Ubisoft Ubisoft played it in front of you. It was not playable.
Okay.
And it was a tech demo. It was not necessarily a level or a piece of the game. It was very much like free camera roam. This is what this will be like kind of stuff. So that game is not a game yet. That game isn't even a part of a game yet. And it's really disappointing to see a game announced that was announced a decade ago, still not even started development, and Ansel still has to make Wild for Sony. So I don't have a lot of faith that that game will necessarily be finished in 2 years' time. That might be a 3 or 4 year kind of wait, which puts a damper on that moment. But I still thought it was a really nice moment, and sort of those were the two pillars: Mario and Rabbids and Evil Within, Good and Evil to the prequel, were very good pillars to it all. Also, that game's a prequel but has a 2 in the title. What the fuck? Cut that shit out. Rename that game.
Wasn't that like the Rambo thing? Like there's one that's like a Rambo, but it takes place... No?
Rambo, the first Rambo is just called First Blood. It's not actually called Rambo First Blood, so that's even weirder, is they have multiple movies that don't have the word Rambo in the title.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Ryan, you're up now.
Okay. Alright, is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? How
It's
should I pronounce it?
Ubisoft.
No, Ubisoft. Alright, now we got that bit out of the way. Games.
Yeah.
Games, Michael.
Video
Let me
games.
talk about the games.
Sure.
The like Michael said, this is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the one game that stood out the most to me was Mario plus Rabbids. If you came to me 2 years ago and said there would be a Mario game that played exactly like XCOM, and it also features the Rabbids, I would say you're a crazy person. But here we are, we're living this, and it looks good. And I actually, while we're recording this, I actually just bought a Switch this morning, so I may actually have a chance to get my hands on Mario plus Rabbids, which seems kind of cool. I kind of want to play that game. Aside from that, there's not really much I remember from Ubisoft. Like y'all said, there was the pirate game that wasn't the one by Rare. There was Crew 2, I guess, for some reason. Yeah, the Elijah Wood game. I'm interested to see what that is. I'm not even sure it's a game. It might just be like a VR movie type thing.
It's a game.
It is a game, okay, because I know Spectre Vision is their like film company that's been... I know they restored at least like one movie and put it out on Blu-ray and stuff like that. But that's interesting. I don't think I'll actually play it because I don't have a VR headset at the moment or anything, and I don't see myself getting one in the near future. But I want to know what that is. I want to see more of that, because that's kind of, for me, that's interesting because it really sort of represents this precipice we're still on between, you know, what we think of as playing games right now and sort of what I feel is the potential of virtual reality as kind of a more common commodity in gaming. So I'll be interested to see how this turns out. If nothing else, I feel like it might be remembered as some, you know, early stage experimental virtual reality thing that paved the way for stuff coming after it. But since we don't really exactly know what it's going to be in the first place, you know, I don't really want to speak on that. There was the Steep expansion, Far Cry 5. I don't know anything about those games aside from Blood Dragon, so that's kind of a pass for me. There wasn't really... Of course there was. I was going to say there wasn't anything at Ubisoft that I thought was bad, but that's a lie, because not one but 2 South Park games returned to the E3 stage for the second year in a row. Or, sorry, the third year in a row, I should add, because didn't they announce the Fractured Butthole, like, back in, like, 2015?
Yeah, they announced it, but they didn't show much, and then last year was its big coming out, and then they delayed it to infinity, and then this year they just said, it's still a thing. We need this mobile game, because... Please.
Well, let me say that delaying that game to infinity is not long enough. I'd like them to push that back a little further if possible, and also stop showing South Park at E3 permanently for the rest of my life.
Hopefully it'll be released and then just be out of the way.
God, I hope so. Unless there's going to be a third one, which I'm sure there will be. That's two S games we can put on the E3 strike list: Skyrim and South Park. Neither of them are something I ever want to see
all
again.
banned.
Yeah. I mean, I'd expected the Fractured Butthole trailer again. Like, that was kind of something I'd been bracing for, but that phone game was heinous. I think the fact that there was, not really any applause or much of an audience reaction to that kind of speaks for where we as a culture stand with the South Park franchise at the moment, or at least the people who go to E3 stand with that franchise for the moment. So,
Dead silence when that was announced. It was great.
Yeah, my God. I at first I thought they were just showing a second trailer for Fractured Butthole because I was, so busy with writing and stuff. And then they were like, Phone Destroyer, and I heard no applause, and I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. But that's pretty much my kind of view on Ubisoft. Really, the only thing to come out of this is much like Wolfenstein with Bethesda. I think the Mario plus Rabbids game is one of the best games that was previewed at the conference as a whole. I watched like every gameplay video I could of that after the fact, and I'm pretty excited. I don't know if it'll be a day one buy for me. I'd like to see, kind of if it really sticks the landing, but I think that's definitely something I'm going to want to play later this year. So that's cool. It's cool, like Michael said, that, you have Miyamoto coming out with Eves.
Yeah.
Eves, yeah. I think it was definitely a step forward for them in terms of, in comparison to the, I almost said podcast, to the pressers they've put out in the past, where it just feels kind of empty. And I wouldn't go so far as to say soulless, but certainly not as like genuine and enthusiastic as they were this year. And that was really refreshing. It's nice to see genuine enthusiasm on the E3 stage, and I feel like we got a decent helping of that this year, which is always nice. But, not a bad showing from Ubisoft. Definitely one of their, like we said, one of their strongest conferences in recent memory, I think. So I was happy about that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Niall?
I don't understand why the Crew 2 has to exist. I genuinely don't get it.
No, me neither.
Just to mess with you.
Like, after what a disaster the original was, to the point that, like, 6 months ago, Ubisoft were giving it out for free. Like, why would you make a second one? I mean, sure, it, like, looks conceptually interesting, but it's the Crew. Like, it's impossible to have any sort of hype for that because the first was so bad and was such a disaster. Mario and Rabbids was surprisingly great. I don't think anyone expected that, and Miyamoto had a gun.
Lethal Weapon 5 happened on stage. It was great.
Yeah.
Detective Season 3.
And Bill Trinan was there, and he gave Eve a gun. Like, but that game looks great, and I don't think anyone, when they heard that, hey, this is a thing that's going to be happening, was excited for it. We were making fun of it on the site when it was announced, and for them to show it and for it to look as good as it does is really impressive. Like, I would probably rather play that than sit down and play XCOM. So
yes,
I guess that's as good as you could hope for. Other than that, I thought it was a little weird that Beyond Good and Evil had so much swearing in its trailer. I don't remember the original game as being quite so reliant on having the pigman say fuck every 2 minutes, but
listen,
whatever.
it's a prequel. It was before all the swearing get outlawed, so they got to get it in while they can.
Yeah, it just seemed like a weird thing to me. Far Cry 5, it looks like Far Cry. I haven't played a Far Cry game since 3, so I will probably give that a shot, but I don't know that I trust Far Cry as a series to handle the themes that it is clearly going for with grace and with the proper gravitas. Especially after, I mean, I know apparently Far Cry 4 was better with this than the third was, but the third left a real bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. The way it handled some of that stuff, especially with regards to like race stuff. So I don't know. I hope that Far Cry 5 is better with that stuff. I hope they add something new to that formula other than just the typical clear out like an enemy encampment, go skin some animals, craft some weapons stuff. I think rural Montana is a very interesting setting for a Far Cry game, because for once you're taking it out of an exotic locale and putting it into a modern day Western locale, which I think could be interesting. It's obviously very topical in a lot of ways, although it seems like from everything Ubisoft have said that they kind of maybe stumbled into that a little bit. Maybe kind of got lucky with some of that. But I'm cautiously looking forward to it. Like Michael said, I think I might wind up waiting until it drops to like 40, which should be like 2 weeks after it releases, I guess, at this point, the way the industry is going. I was really glad to see Steep, which is kind of weird. That game grew on me an awful lot, and while I don't think it's up there with other winter sports games or any extreme sports games really that have come out that have been any good, it is still a decent game, and I'm excited more to have new environments. The Pyeongchang mountain, as well as whatever mountains in Japan they're adding, I assume like Nagano or something like that, would be... That's something I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that they really focus in on the skiing and snowboarding and like tightening that up. They did in that trailer show grinds, which is a thing that's been weirdly missing from Steep to begin with, and was like one of the big flaws people found in that game, especially in like the slopestyle and trick events. So that they're actually adding that is nice. And other than that, I guess probably the best thing about Ubisoft this year was, for the most part, none of it made me embarrassed. There was no awkward Mr. Caffeine. There was no let's make a meme. There was no like laser tag or any weird stuff involving people who shouldn't be on stage. South Park was really bad though. The silence that followed Phone Destroyer's announcement was just maybe the moment of the show for me. Just that like nobody in that auditorium cared, and it fell flat so badly, which is great because God, like South Park should have died years ago at this point. I still think Fractured Butthole looks bad. I mean, I know people liked, what was it, the Stick of Truth? Is that what it was called? Yeah.
Yeah, like a Stick of from what I have heard from like people who like played Stick of Truth, that game was good, but like despite the fact that it was a South Park game, like it was good because Obsidian made it and because they were basically trying to make like a Paper Mario style game.
Right, and Obsidian aren't making this one, right?
Yeah, I think it's just Ubisoft like themselves, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's just an in-house studio, so
Yeah.
I don't even know that it's going to be at the Stick of Truth's level. But yeah, like, man, I'm so tired of South Park. It's like Skyrim. I would happily never see it again. But yeah, I thought UB had a way better conference than they normally have. Elijah Wood was there, and he was creepy, and that was, so, that was good. Elijah Wood is good at being creepy.
Niall, don't say stuff like that. Now I gotta cancel this Elijah Wood guest podcast.
I'm complimenting him. He's good at playing creepy characters. I mean, have you ever seen what's that movie called? Maniac? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Maniac remake.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's good in that. He's scary in that. And there's that other movie where he's stalking a lady on a laptop. That's weird. That's
Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, that one. Yeah. That's a movie. He's good in that. He's good at being creepy. All
right.
I don't know that I'll play Transference because, like Ryan said, VR and it's expensive, and I'm not sold on VR as a thing yet. But yeah, like Ubisoft had a good press conference by and large, and I thought it was nice, a nice way to end the show, having them take members of staff just up onto the stage, and kind of another fuck you to Vivendi at the same time, which, as much as Ubisoft can be kind of shitty, like Vivendi is the worst, so it's in everyone's interests that fuck Vivendi, basically. Like, but yeah, a decent showing from them, much better than they usually do, and it was nice to see them get away from the Ubisoft formula for a lot of that stuff as well. So
okay. It's just me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I will admit I got really stoked when I saw Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like I don't have any kind of like ties to that franchise, but still just seeing that and seeing people being so happy about that, I couldn't help but like smile and cheer a little bit. Mario plus Rabbids looks fucking baller. Like I ended up watching like the full gameplay that I think Eurogamer posted. That just looks like so much fun. Like I'm gonna say I think they do the XCOM thing almost better than XCOM, because everything I see for XCOM, like it's people being like, oh man, why is my hit percentage so low? Why is this like this? Why is it so difficult to get around the map? But like Mario and Rabbids, it's like, you want to get somewhere, there's a good chance you can get there because there's like pipes you can take, you can jump, and
we haven't played the game yet, so like hit percentage and rolls, like we can't. And you are also basing that off of a demo.
Sure, I'm just saying. I just from watching that, I am just really wowed, and I'm ready for it to kick ass. But yeah, other than that, nothing really tickled my fancy. Like I said, Starlink looks like a neat idea. I just have no idea how that's gonna like work very well if it's strapped to your controller, and if you basically jostle it the wrong way, that thing's falling on the floor. Yeah, I'm real worried about Far Cry. I just watching that like trailer bit where they were showing some of the gameplay. I don't know. That just it's like the characters just seem so like nonchalant about like what's going on in like how they're just like mercs basically. Like I wish that game had like a little bit more of like character to it.
Sure.
But I don't know. Everything else is just kind of. I don't know if I'd say a shrug, but it wasn't really something that like interested me that much. Assassin's Creed. I don't think we mentioned Assassin's Creed. The new Assassin's Creed looks pretty cool. I've never played an Assassin's Creed before. This might be my first Assassin's Creed. We'll see how that shakes out. But, yeah, I mean, just fuck South Park. Like, holy shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Sony. So we don't have to talk about that bullshit anymore. Ryan, you're up first for Sony.
All right, cool. Let me pull up my faithful list over here. So, okay, going down. So the first thing I see on here that I am excited for is the Shadow of the Colossus HD remake. I never played that game. I've always wanted to. I don't really have a PS3, so I never bought like the PS3 remaster or anything like that. I don't want to pay like $200 to get it on PS2 or whatever the eBay price is these days. And the footage of it they showed looked good. Like, it looked like a good remaster of this game. Even for me, who's seen, screen caps of this game and stuff like that, I still saw it, and I thought, like, wow, like, this looks neat. Like, this is something I definitely, want to play. And, that's not, like, an original game that got announced or anything, and I know that Sony has had a recent history of announcing, like, repackage, like, remaster, stuff like that, but I'm honestly just excited to be able to play this game in a way that, is easy for me to access it, I guess. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if they announced a date for it. I don't think they did. I think they just kind of showed the trailer for it and then moved on with everything.
2018, I think, something like that.
Yeah, that seems about right. In terms of really positive stuff that stood out to me, like I said, this year there wasn't a whole lot, but they did preview plenty of Spider-Man for the PS4, and I am pretty dang excited about that one. One of my favorite games when I was younger was the Spider-Man 2 game on PS2. So I have a very deep kind of nostalgia and or affection for Spider-Man games. And watching this trailer, it looks like it's going to give me everything I wanted out of this game. I mean, it had Wilson Fisk in it, like on the phone with Spider-Man. And I was just like, oh God, yes, like this is what I wanted. I've seen a lot of people kind of make light of the fact that there are quick time events in that game, but I would like to counter by saying that Spider-Man games have always had quick time events in them. I know the second one did, and I know the Spider-Man 3 game did as well. So, that kind of thing doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, if it ends up being overused, then, that's a problem.
They said the QuickTime events would only be in specific situations, and usually, like in that demo that they showed, usually like something involving a boss battle to emphasize like a dramatic moment or a specific action.
Yeah, and that's how QuickTime events, should be used. And
Tell that to David Cage.
We'll get to that. But yeah, those are kind of the two highlights for me at Sony. It was interesting to me because I expected them to have a lot more talk in that conference, because for the last couple of years, they've always had, someone come out, like, introduce the game, say, this is what we're working on, here's the trailer. But this year, they just had, I cannot for the life of me ever remember that man's name. Yeah, they had Sean Layden come out and, like, basically bookend it. He was there at the beginning and he was there at the end.
They kind of did that last year. He showed up a couple times more last year, but this year he was notably absent.
Last year they had him introduce the Crash thing. Last year they also had Kojima come out for the Death Stranding stuff. So it was a little more interspersed. But this year I thought it was interesting how it was mostly just like Microsoft did, like trailer, that sort of thing. Sony didn't blow me away this year like they had in the past. I still think it was a pretty decent showing from them. I don't have an interest in a lot of the games that they trotted out. I know there will be people who are interested in God of War. Someone's going to play Call of Duty. Someone's going to play Monster Hunter. Days Gone still looks like the shittiest piece of gaming garbage to come out this side of the year 2009. That was at E3 last year, and I said it was the least impressive thing. And if they hadn't trotted out Skyrim's desiccated corpse for 2 more ports, then Days Gone probably would have been the worst thing of the conference for me again this year. I watched the footage for that game, and I see nothing unique, nothing redeeming, nothing worth my time or money or attention on the E3 stage. So I am not looking forward to the release of Days Gone, and I will be happier once it is out and we can stop pretending like it is a game that exists. That's pretty much Sony for me. I don't have much else to say about it. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I'm always interested in Sony because the PS4 is kind of my wheelhouse in terms of consoles these days. But they didn't announce a whole lot, but they announced just enough for me to be like, okay, I can look forward to, Sony's output, like the PlayStation, PS4 in the next couple years, which is nice. I already have enough games for the PS4, but there's definitely stuff coming out that I'm still going to want to play.
Okay. Niall, how about you?
Yeah, I thought it was a very safe press conference from Sony. They usually go hard on the hearts and minds stuff. So it was kind of weird that they didn't even really make an attempt to do that this year. Like, normally you almost get the sense that they're like watching what Microsoft are doing and then coming out and saying, okay, what can we say to play off what they said that'll get everybody walking away from this going, oh, Sony's so great. Like, they didn't do that this year, which I'm actually kind of happy about. Like, much like Microsoft, it was largely just, here's the games, which was what it should be. I said in my write-up on the least impressive thing that I think Days Gone looks like what you would get if you stuck a bunch of 15-year-olds in a room and told them to write a games design doc. There is nothing about Days Gone that looks even slightly interesting in any way, shape, or form. It's the most generic post-apocalyptic third-person action adventure zombie fucking gruel. It is just slop, cold, grey, lumpy slop thrown at you by Sony, and you like, I can't even imagine somebody being excited for that game. Like, I talked about like how EA have largely been soulless for a long time. Days Gone is like the epitome of soulless AAA video game development at the moment. I can't wait for that game to be out and we can all forget that it ever existed in the first place, like Ryan said, and that'll be that. I haven't even seen the kind of person who gets excited for everything saying that Days Gone is looking good. So I don't know who that game is for. I don't know that that game is going to even succeed. I hope it doesn't because it looks bad. Horizon DLC, I don't know about that. Like, when I was playing Horizon, I was really high on it from sort of the second or third hour until maybe I was about at the point where you get to Meridian, which is like the big main central hub of that game. And from there I kind of progressively got less and less and less and less into everything Horizon was doing. So I don't know that I necessarily want more Horizon right now. Could be interesting, but I don't know that I have any desire to ever go back and experience more of that story. And also the way that game ends is very much a sequel setup. So I don't know how you're going to force that DLC in coherently in between the end of the first game and the probable sequel that's coming. I guess you could say it takes place during the events of the first, before the big ending or whatever happens, but I don't know, that seems like it's going to be a kind of awkward thing for Guerrilla to handle, so I'm going to wait and see what the general consensus is on that before I jump in on that when it comes out, because I don't know. It could be good, it might not be. Marvel vs. Capcom looked really bad. And that was kind of surprising. What is up with that art style? It's one of the ugliest looking games I've seen in forever.
Yeah. I'm really worried about that game. I've seen some higher end gameplay from the floor, and that game looks like it could probably play fine, but watching that reveal, or not really reveal, that new trailer, and playing the demo, they put out a demo right after, it was that demo was not good. And I don't know, I'm really worried about that game.
Yeah, it's just so unappealing, and especially when we had Microsoft trot out Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which looked incredible, to then bring out Marvel vs. Capcom and to have it look just not good.
Dumpy as hell.
Yeah. It looks like, the way that game looks, it's almost like if you ever go to Walmart or whatever and you see those knockoff DreamWorks movies.
God.
That's what the art style of that game looks like, and it's so unappealing that even if it plays great, it's just, I don't know, it. And I mean, the demo didn't do anything for me either. I didn't like that demo. I didn't get sold on anything I played, so I don't know. I'm worried about that game, which is a shame because MVC has always been dumb as hell, but it's always been a lot of fun. God of War was weird as well. It's sort of, I don't know how I feel about playing as the Big Show, as it's it's just, God of War to me, it doesn't look like God of War. It looks like, it's almost like that problem EA has where Sony's games are starting to almost become formulaic at this point. It's almost like they stripped out what made God of War. And even though I've never really been a huge fan of God of War, it's sort of do we really need a God of War that looks just like another one of these? I get wanting to tell a more mature story with those characters in that setting, but I just don't know about it. It seems like it's not. It seems like it's too similar to other stuff that they're doing, and it seems like Sony are falling into that trap, which is really kind of worrying. Spider-Man was another thing they showed, and that looked great, I thought.
Totally.
I thought the Miles Morales tease was great. I'm really excited to see what that winds up being, because some of those old PS2 Spider-Man games are great, and this certainly was evocative of those games. I've never been a huge Spider-Man fan, but I really, really want to play this game, and knowing who's behind it and knowing that this is where Sony are putting their money now, this is going to be the big push for them, it's potentially really exciting. And I just hope it comes off, and I hope they put the pizza theme in this game. They've got to. It's got to be there somewhere. I'm sure they can do that. But then the main event, not just for Sony, but the whole of E3. The only auteur to ever grace the medium.
Get it over with.
David Cage. Look.
Do it. Just say the shit you need to fucking say.
I'm trying, Michael. Okay, I'm getting very emotional. Like
That's good, because you want to get emotional when
It's
you play a
called
David Cage
disgust. It's called anger. We all
it's
feel
called-
it too.
It's called joy. It's look, David Cage has
It's
always had some
Problems.
questionable. He's made some questionable decisions.
Some.
In his writing in the past.
Just his writing, yep.
Yeah, just his writing. He is somebody who makes games like nobody else makes games.
That's fucking true as hell. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Look, when David Cage gets something right, David Cage gets it right.
I can't wait for that to happen. It'll be great to see. I can't wait for him to reach that pinnacle of being good.
Look, you've never even played a David Cage game, so don't give me this. That finger scene in Heavy Rain is...
Well, Niall, no one's played a David Cage game.
Oh, fuck. Holy shit.
Look, I'm respectful of the rest of you, and I feel very attacked right now.
I'm sorry, Niall.
I am excited for Detroit. I know that it's going to be as ham-fisted as possible, and hearing the quotes that came from David Cage from the show where he is claiming he is not trying to make a statement, and he is claiming that he's not telling a story about racism is crazy. And the fact that he's claiming he has nothing to say, like, yeah, you kind of don't have anything to say, David, you never have. But I mean, I am still all in on this game. Like, I know it's going to be so bad. I know that it's going to I know it's going to have great ideas mechanically, and I know it's going to have like a handful of scenes that really do actually come off and work. But I'm also like so excited to see how badly David Cage handles this story, because he's going to handle this badly as only he can, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I'm so excited.
You're gonna have to let me know how that goes, because I kinda want to play that game, but I'm also scared for my life. I'm afraid that David Cage is going to come out of my TV and just like, I don't know, dump all my games in a garbage can. And
I cannot wait to see a 2017-2018 reimagining of the dance scene from Fahrenheit. I can't wait to see a realistically modeled David Cage dancing with the Kara android who is in her underpants for some reason. I'm really looking forward to
bless.
it. God
Should be
fucking
great.
bless David Cage.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you, David Cage.
All right.
You monster.
Michael, what are your Sony opinions?
I'm not as high on it as Ryan and Niall are. I thought it was flat. I don't dislike the constant trailers. I think that's a good strategy, and I think it's one they did well with the last couple years. But I think this year just felt like they abandoned all the trailers. Like it's like they just like put up a YouTube video. It's just, and a lot of the trailers were just like, I'm not as negative on Days Gone. It's not that it doesn't look great, but it's also a game I would never ever play. So to me, it's just like, oh, you made a State of Decay, but with the guy from Force Unleashed as the actor. Great. I don't know. I feel like this year was their eggs hatching. They last year and the year before, they were so much about winning the conversation, like winning. Oh, this remake is, oh my god, they want people freaking out in reaction threads about Final Fantasy VII. And I think they're starting to reap some of that. Of last year they announced God of War, and Spider-Man, and all this stuff, and this year they had God of War and Spider-Man and all this stuff, and none of it's not coming out anytime soon. It's just they have caught up to themselves. They have caught up to their own tail, and it's kind of a shame. I like Days Gone was fine. I had nothing too terrible. I'm glad, Ryan, that you're excited about Shadow of the Colossus remake. I think it's weird that they're remaking that game and not just HDifying it again. That's a strange. God of War looked interesting. I think the taking the tone of the first God of Wars, all like 20 of them, and changing it is really smart, because I don't think that would ever fit in a modern day. But I even after watching that trailer, that lengthy, I guess that was a demo, I don't know what that game is. I don't know how to play that game. I don't know what you do in that game other than yell at your son and throw axes at things bigger than you. And then, like, Spider-Man looked terrific, but I couldn't tell if that was gameplay or target demo. Like, I couldn't tell if that was what they hope it will look like, or here is a vertical slice that we have prepared and run smoothly and re-recorded. And that worries me. It reminds me of footage of Scalebound. I've gone back and looked at some footage of Scalebound, like watching old E3 stuff, and if you watch it, it looks a little hobbled together, but it's running. Whereas this just looked like it was recorded. And that worries me. I hope that game does well. But yeah, Sony just felt like we have to talk about PSVR because we put out a helmet and it sold pretty well. We have to talk about Spider-Man, we have to talk about Detroit, we have to talk about God of War, and very quickly their hour filled up. And they did fine on a little bit of spectacle with the music and the waterfall. I thought that was really smart, but it just felt like a blah year from them. It felt like they went on stage and like, I don't know what you're going to be playing later this year, but in 2019 you'll be playing these games. It just didn't feel like... And I don't know how good that strategy is going to pan out unless you have, a couple devs. And maybe there's something waiting for their thing in December. PlayStation Experience or whatever it is. Maybe they just don't emphasize E3 as much, and they can emphasize that and have their own press cycle. But I have no clue what that strategy was. I thought it felt empty. I think is the best way to describe it. It felt empty. Microsoft has finally found its stride when it comes to these conferences in this day and age, and Sony has seemed to have lost theirs. I didn't feel like the diversity of announcements. Like, why wasn't Undertale announced on there? Why? That's a big get. Like, that's important, and that will get a crowd of niche fans really supporting you. It just felt like they had their hands tied. Like, we have to do Spider-Man, we have to do God of War, we have to do it lengthy because last year all we did was tease it. So we have to really show it off. I don't know where they were. It honestly starts to almost be worrisome because I start to think about their first-party output and how they're just resting on their third-party output with like Destiny and Call of Duty. And I start to worry that they're so far ahead, do they start to go back to the old days where Sony was always ahead, and they just like, oh, well, we're doing so well. We can just put our hands behind our head and just lean back and just autopilot. And that's what they did with the PS3 and the 360 outbid them eventually. So I worry about, does that company have a vision for the next couple of years that's not Uncharted and Last of Us 2 and God of War? Like, where's anything that gets me like truly excited about it? I guess Last of Us 2 might get someone really excited, or God of War might.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Niall's right. Like, God of War looks like an Uncharted game, but set in the God of War universe. And instead of shooting dudes, you run around and hit them with an axe. Toss in a little Last of Us with like a companion as your son. It's just that game again. You can't do that. It's why Gears feels like shit, because it's not a Halo. And I like Gears of War, don't get me wrong, but it's, you play it, I play it, and it's just like, it's not as high as Halo. It's up there, but it's just not up there. You know what I mean? I'm worried about Sony more than I was worried about, like, will Microsoft find its footing? They found it pretty quickly after the snafu of the launch of the Xbox One and the DRM stuff. I wonder if Sony will ever find its footing, or if this will be like the PS3, where it launched troubled, except for now that they're ahead, do they have any reasoning to, like, change anything? I just hope that they figure it out, and I hope next year, this was just their down year, like for like Bethesda, and it's just next year they have, oh, by the way, crazy game remake number 10, Spyro.
Just wait until Gamescom when they show the world Shenmue 3.
Christ.
I'm done.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that Sony conference was kind of it was a little bit of a disappointment. I'm like, that Monster Hunter thing was really weird. I don't really care about Monster Hunter, but like pretty much almost immediately everyone was like, oh no. And then once they found out that was like the next Monster Hunter game, that they're not going to do like a normal Monster Hunter game after that, at least for the time being, everyone was like, oh Jesus.
So in
that's
follow-up interviews, it seems like they're not immediately porting Monster Hunter 20 or XX.
XX, yeah.
And that this is essentially what that would, not what that would have been, but rather this is replacing that. This is the Western Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. I've heard from some people their impressions say, I don't know if these are impressions from actual people who played it, this particular one. They seem to say like, oh, they're changing everything about Monster Hunter. Then I've heard people who have played it and saw it at E3, and they said, no, it like the core of it is still Monster Hunter. They just, the map might be different, but you're still hunting monsters, and it's still like hit a button and it takes forever to do your attack, kind of stuff. So, I'm as someone who was casually into Monster Hunter and really wanted to get into it, and it's just so fucking dense and it's just so thick, and you just really cannot just jump in. I'm interested in a watered down, maybe not like terribly watered down, but a lighter version of Monster Hunter. And if that gets like 2 million more people into Monster Hunter, good for them. Like, I see why people were worried. I get it, but they're a business. They can't make the hardcore crazy Monster Hunter that you love. They have to make money. Yeah. And if you want to see Monster Hunter here, this is the only way you'll get it. It's either this, or they just don't port anything or make anything at all. That's seemingly like they're not doing it to piss you off, or because they don't like you, or they don't like Monster Hunter. They wouldn't be making it if they didn't like it. They're just doing it because they think that's the best business decision. So I hope that thing turns out to be a neat like twist on the traditional Monster Hunter game.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Fuck Days Gone. There wasn't really anything other than Spider-Man that really, like, wowed me that entire time. But yeah, Spider-Man was... Mwah! I loved Spider-Man. I saw people were saying, like, oh, there were too many QuickTime events, and I get that. But, I don't know, just the personality of that game, the little things, like how he's constantly making sure that there's no, like, structural damage to anything, like how he's, like, tying things up, how he's, like, making sure that the criminals survive, like he's throwing them over onto, like, ledges and stuff, like, I don't know, I love the personality of that game, and yeah, like, I hope you get to play as, not just Miles Morales, like, I hope that there's other, like, weirder Spider-Man characters, like, I hope you get to play as, like, Gwen, or, like, all different kinds of Spider-Men, like, or Spider-Women, everything. So,
yeah, Spider-Gwen would be really cool. I'd love to play Spider-Gwen.
I could see that being like a late game unlock, or you beat the game,
DLC or something like that. Yeah,
I think playing as multiple Spider-Men or Spider-People, I don't think that's what that game is.
Sure,
I think that game is Spider-Man 2 modern. I think that's just the best way.
It's going to be Peter and maybe Miles eventually.
Yeah. The particularly like the not killing people. That is a Marvel demand.
Mm-hmm.
That Spider-Man doesn't kill people, so you won't be killing anybody. I know.
I just like how much like effort and how like they've like really interwoven it into the gameplay. Like I just think that's really neat. You know,
the Batman gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it works.
I hope, like, because they showed, like, a gadget where it was on the side of something and it, like, sprang out with web. You can apparently attach that to a dude, and it will, if he walks by one of his friends, it'll take both of them down. It'll zip the one dude into the other, and they'll both get knocked out.
Yeah.
So I that's what I want. I want, if it's got to be Batman combat, that's fine, but make it, customize it, make it feel and be like Spider-Man.
I don't know. I think they did as much as they could, customizing it to be Spider-Man. That looks really neat. And yeah, just like a brief thing. I know it's like a re-release and all that, but I think the Undertale Collector's Edition is just like it's gorgeous. I mean, it wasn't like necessarily part of the conference, but just to mention, like, I think it's like the best possible thing and that they could have done with that game. Like, I think it's neat that it's getting a like physical release, you know, like that's just the fact that like that game, you know, I won't harp on it too much, but like how it went from like complete unknown to like getting a special physical release and getting talked to in E3. I think that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. Sony's was all right, we're almost done here, folks. We just got Nintendo. Niall, how did you feel about Nintendo's showing?
Well, I actually was asleep during their actual thing, but catching up on it afterwards, yeah, it was great. Catching up on it afterwards, Super Mario Odyssey looks great. Like, it looks like everything you would want from a Mario game in 2017. That one boss fight they showed with where Mario gets in the tank, I thought looked amazing. Like, I've never been the biggest Mario fan, but that is something that I would maybe like to play, but it's on the Switch, and I don't know that they've done enough yet to convince me to buy a Switch. At least not until probably like 2019 when Metroid comes out for it. Metroid is really like the only Nintendo franchise I have a strong emotional attachment to. So knowing that that's getting a new iteration and that it's going to be on the Switch is exciting. It would have been nice to see something more than just a title card, but knowing that it's coming at least is great. And I'm sure Reggie is happy that he's not going to have to hear about it constantly anymore. Well, he will still have to hear about it, but just in a different way, I guess. I thought Sushi Striker, is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That was announced the following day,
afterwards,
I think. Yeah.
But I think that looks really neat.
Yeah.
That, you know, like, that looks like a really fun twist on a concept that Nintendo have always done really well with. So I'm excited to see what that winds up being. Other than that, there isn't a ton Nintendo-wise that stuck out to me. I guess we know why they took down that Metroid 2 fan remake.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Warriors is a Fire Emblem game, and I hope it's good. I hope it's less aggressively horny than some recent Fire Emblem games.
They almost exclusively showed characters from Fates, so don't count on it.
Great.
Great. The great strategy game is now just a horny fucking mash this button 1,000 times game. Fucking wonderful.
Everyone loves Camilla. What else? The Superstar Saga remake. That Superstar Saga is a great game, so I'm interested to see what that winds up being. I thought it was a fairly strong showing from Nintendo. I think they did a pretty decent job of, showing that they're committed to making games for the Switch, and I think it was a nice surprise to see that they're clearly not giving up on the 3DS either. It seems like that thing is going to have another few years left in its lifespan, which is great because it's a great little system. And for them to be sticking by it when they could so easily have pulled a Sony and just been like, what handheld system? You mean the Switch? We don't have a dedicated handheld system. A good showing from them. It would have been nice to see Reggie get on stage with the Rabbids and Mario at some point, but I don't think they want to give Reggie a gun either. I think that's a bad move. A decent showing from Nintendo, I thought.
All right. Michael. How did you feel about the Nintendo showing?
I thought it was a very good conference to try and assuage, yes.
Yeah.
All the Rabid fans.
The Rabid fans?
Yeah, all the Rabid fans.
Yeah.
Because they showed that again. Now, Xenoblade, Kirby, Yoshi, Mario, 2 Mario games, multiple Metroid games. Thought it was a good attempt to just say, everyone shut the fuck up. We've got them all coming. Stop. Pokemon, it's coming. Just shut up. I think that was Nintendo's way of saying, please, shut up. This thing just came out. You already have a Zelda. You already got a Mario. Here's another Mario. Here's a Fire Emblem game. What do you want? You want more. Fuck off. Here you go.
There's going to be another Fire Emblem game next year.
Yeah.
Chill.
Here's Metroid. When's it coming out? You wanted it. Here it is. We're going to make it. We're just started today. I sent an email that said, hey, make that Metroid Prime game. You want a Kirby?
Don't ask about F-Zero.
Yeah, don't ask him about that. We don't care. This Metroid game ain't gonna sell. Neither is F-Zero, and we'll prove you all right. We'll make another one. So, yeah, I thought it was a strong lineup. It makes me excited to eventually own a Switch, because I know I will eventually buy one. But, I don't know. It's kind of what Sony got in trouble with, where they announced a bunch of things last year, and then this year's like, none of it's here. It's gonna be Nintendo every time something happens, and they still have people going, where's Animal Crossing? Where's F-Zero? Where's Smash Brothers? And it's fine. It's fine to have I want that to come over. I want this to be ported over. I want this to be made. That's great. But they announced a bunch of shit. Fucking be happy a little.
They announced fucking Metroid Prime 4. Everyone can chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
My God.
I would if you told me that before it started, hey Michael, they will announce a Metroid Prime 4, I would say that's a good haha. Now shut up. The fucking conference is starting.
Yeah. Like that is pretty much exactly what you told me last podcast when I said I think they're going to announce a Metroid. You went, no, they're not, and
Yeah.
hey, they announced 2. So
Well, one of them's... speaking of, like, 3DS games, it's interesting that 2 of those 3DS games, Sushi Superstar and Metroid, are remakes.
the sushi game isn't a remake.
I said 2 of those, and I named 3 games.
You named 2 games. You said Metroid and Sushi.
Sushi, Superstar.
Sushi and Superstar.
Oh,
and
okay.
Metroid.
Sorry, I thought Sushi Superstar.
Yeah, I was
was
like, wait.
Superstar
My
Saga.
apologies.
Okay.
Okay.
God, I thought you guys were
Sorry.
journalists.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry. Jeez.
2 of those games are remakes. And that's great. Like, I'm glad that they're remaking them. They're clearly doing some work to them. They have different modes added on. But that's interesting that those are remakes. I'm wondering if they're just testing the waters. Even like the Pokemon game coming later this year. Those are technically... I know they're adding a bunch of stuff to it. Mm-hmm. But they're using existing art and existing tech.
Pokemon's always done that, though.
Sure, no, for sure. But I think it's an interesting choice to... 3DS is still strong. Still has over 100 million units. Or I think it's 100 million. Or maybe I'm thinking of the DS. Either way, 3DS is strong. Has more units than the Switch. So I wonder if they're just placing their developmental bets in maybe games that are quicker to make, games that'll get fan attention, games that they know will sell, games that will like speak to people, because somebody who owns a 3DS theoretically has owned it much longer than a Switch, for sure. So that fan is more likely to remember Metroid 2, more likely to remember Superstar Saga. So they are more likely to buy those games on a 3DS, and it's smart to kind of place those bets where they are. I don't think it's like a full-on strategy, but I don't know if we will see the big... Like, Kirby kind of lived on the 3DS for a while, and now it's on the Switch. He's on the Switch. Or it's on the Switch, where the fuck Kirby is. I think that's interesting. I don't think that means the Switch is dead, or the 3DS is dead. The Switch is dead in the water. Don't worry about it. I don't think either of them are dead, but I think it's interesting that those are a year or 2 ago when those projects started, or 3 years ago, that those are the projects they chose.
Well, let me just run down those 3DS games because I agree with you in a sense, but so Metroid is it's not a remake per se. From what I can gather, it's a reimagining where I think they're taking the basic concept of Metroid 2, which was like the hunting down the Metroids and all that, and they I don't know if they've done anything to the map, but they're at the very least changing up how the gameplay works too, because they're adding that like uppercut move and shit like that. So they are changing a lot. However, I will point out though that you're right that like Nintendo is trying to just kind of keep the 3DS alive because they have so many out there. Superstar Saga is a remake, yes. Return of Samus is made by an outside company, and so is Sushi Game. That's made by not Inti Creates. That's Indie Zero, which they made like NES Remix, Retro Game Challenge, the Game Center CX game, and what else did they make?
So they're a second-party studio.
They're not second party. They're close to it though.
That's pretty second party.
They did Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy, so that's not Nintendo. I mean, it's on 3DS, but it's not Nintendo.
Second party just means they work with them a lot and they have an exclusive publishing deal with certain games.
Either way, they are close to Nintendo, but it's outside. It's either outside sources working on their games, or they just are like porting stuff.
I mean, that's because the big devs internally are working on Switch games.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I'm just kind of backing up your claim. That's all I was saying.
Sure. Yeah, it's just... I just hope that those games aren't as far off as I assume they all are. Like, not even showing a logo for Pokemon, Metroid Prime
will be next year. They want to sell Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon first.
I hope, because if Metroid and Pokemon skip a year and next year is just Yoshi and Kirby, I love me a Kirby.
It won't be.
But please, like, come on. You gotta have something. It's not whether or not I think it will be for sure. It's what they showed and what information they gave. And strong in terms of the franchises they're coming out with and they're touting out, but in terms of the actual hard information is very, very lacking, and that's concerning. I
feel like this presentation was them just kind of trying to like not get ahead of other current releases, because like, you know, you mentioned how people were upset about Smash Bros, and like, hell, I'm one of them, but at the same time, like, yeah, like, you have to think about like ARMS is coming out, and then Splatoon's coming out, and like a lot of their like more like competitive games are all coming out like in a short succession. If they announced Smash Bros at E3, nobody would have paid attention to ARMS and Splatoon, and there's another like competitive like Pokken. Like everyone would just be like, oh, Smash Bros. Like nobody would buy, like once Pokken comes out, they'll talk about fucking Smash Bros. Because Smash Bros. Is going to sell a shit ton. You know, like that's when I think they have an idea of when they're going to talk about each thing, and you know, like, you're right that sometimes it is a little worrying where it's like, oh, you know, they just announced, like, a couple of games for next year. What's next year going to look like? But then at the same time, you think, like, back when they first announced the Switch, we were, like, kind of worried about how the first year was going to look. And now this first year is, like, incredible. So, you know, they'll talk about things when it seems like it's the right time to tease them, because they don't want to overshadow their current releases.
I agree, but I think there's a difference between a console launch and the first year and the second year and the third. Like those are different environments of announcing things, and you need to, and you can't set up dominoes 100 year, you know, 2 or 3 years down the line when people are just now coming to terms with like, oh, this year's pretty good. Like, you know, what comes out next March? Like you have to drive these sales. If you really want to establish the third party market, you really want to establish your base. Like what is selling, you know, and don't get me wrong, Mario looks great. Both Mario's games look great. Like, and Fire Emblems will do fine. But like, you got to sell it this holiday. You got to sell it this March. You have to, like, next March. I didn't really feel that from them. I felt like they were yelling at all their fans, like, we have it all, don't worry. And maybe that'll sell another 2-3 million units. Okay. But I don't know.
All right, yeah. Let's move on because we're running real long. Ryan, real quick, you want to talk about your Nintendo opinions?
Yeah, y'all have covered a lot of ground here. I just have three things to say really quick. Y'all have said a lot about, you know, like, oh, this is the conference designed for people who are iffy on the Switch and all that. I will say that this conference basically convinced me to pull the trigger on buying a Switch. Mario Odyssey looks fantastic. I want to get my hands all over that game. I still want to play Mario plus Rabbids Battle Kingdom, or Kingdom Battle, or whatever the hell it's called. And I know it wasn't a lot, but the Metroid Prime 4 teaser gave me heart palpitations, because I did not think that they would ever release another Metroid Prime game for the rest of my life. And it's allegedly happening at some point, so that was, like, between the Mario games and between Metroid Prime and what I can assume is coming out in the future, that's enough for me to go ahead and, like, pull the bullet on the Switch, because, frankly, I need something new in my life in terms of games. Like, I need to shake things up. And for me, that's, you know, buying a Nintendo console, because they're a company I've never really, you know, dove into before beyond just kind of the most surface level stuff. And I'm ready for it. And I am pretty excited to see not only what Nintendo puts out this year, but also next year and the year after that. And y'all are talking about Animal Crossing and all that. I'm sure that'll be at E3 next year. Like, that's next year. They've got so much stuff going on already that's it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a little while.
Sure.
So that's pretty much my Nintendo thoughts. Okay. There wasn't anything I saw there that I hated, so you know, good stuff. Nintendo had a great conference this year.
Yeah. As for me, just, you know, I agree with the same stuff. You know, I don't really care much for Metroid, but it looked all good and all that. You know, yeah, Mario Odyssey really blew my socks off. Like that DBZ and Wolfenstein were like my 3 favorite games that they showed this year at E3. I'm a little interested in Xenoblade. None of y'all mentioned that. I liked what I played of the original Xenoblade Chronicles, but this one looks like they're going like really anime. Like there was a bit of like I don't know exactly how I would describe the original Xenoblade, but there was a like charming like country aspect to it that I really liked, and this one is just like straight up like this dude is like wearing two pants at the same time, and this lady, she's a sword, and she's also got big ass titties and ass, and it's
Great.
You know, it's great, but you know what? I don't know. I'm interested in it, and I'm ready to, you know, I'm ready to see how it is because I still really like the first Xenoblade, but it also looks real stupid. But yeah, I don't know. Y'all basically said how I felt about Nintendo. So that is our E3 opinions, basically. Yeah, that was a lot. Michael, would you like to just real quick? We got a handful of questions. If we'd just like to run through those real quick.
We have 4 questions.
Okay.
All right. You can send questions to videogamechoochoo at .tumblr.com/ask. A couple weeks, and all the words are just one word now. Or you can email to podcast@videogamechoochoo.com. And you'll sound like these people sound like, out of my mouth sound like. Shoeless asks, any guesses as to when Nintendo might unveil more info with the next Animal Crossing game? Well,
next year.
Yeah, Ryan and okay, everyone says next year?
Mm-hmm. Next year, yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath. Nintendo,
don't hold your breath. Probably next year.
Nintendo is not the company to let's see what all the IP we need to cover. They are not that kind of company.
Well, New Leaf launched right when the 3DS did, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was next year.
No, sure. New Leaf launched a year or so after the 3DS, and that was when the 3DS picked up, because New Leaf was basically when everyone went and bought 3DSs, and that's why they had to do the ambassador shit, because nobody bought a 3DS for the first year.
Anonymous asks, what fighting game is most worthwhile if you're looking to get competitive? Like Street Fighter.
Yeah, I mean...
Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter, basically, but, Guilty Gear and stuff like that is on the rise, so I would look into, the latest release of Exard. So, Revelator 2.
Anonymous asks, with the impossible comeback of Metroid, do you think there are any other neglected Nintendo franchises that might get new entries?
No.
Y'all say no, but supposedly Masahiro Sakurai, who brought Kid Icarus back, is working on a new project, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was some kind of neglected franchise like Kid Icarus.
Sure. Kid Icarus seems like a terrible bet.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be Kid Icarus. Like I said, it's something in that vein, where it was something from the NES that gets brought back. I wouldn't be surprised if, because, they showed up so many times in Smash Bros., maybe Sakurai makes an Ice Climbers game.
Boy, that would suck. Who the fuck cares about the Ice Climbers?
Hey,
be nice.
Hey, you know what?
They're old for a reason.
I would have said the same thing about Kid Icarus, but then I played Uprising, and I fucking loved Kid Icarus Uprising, so...
But no one bought it.
He's working on a Waluigi game.
Great.
Sure.
Good. And then we can kill Waluigi and never have to think about him again. WarioWare seems like a easy mini game, Switch game in a year or two.
Sure.
The way that one, what was the name of that one that came out on launch?
1-2 Switch.
Yeah, Milk the Cow. Anonymous, last question. You can send questions that sound like these questions, that question us and inquiry us, and we answer them because they're questions, to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask or podcast@videogamechoochoo.com. If you like the email people things, email me, I don't know, a picture of a kitten. I won't open it because it's a picture of a kitten and I'll think it's a virus. Anonymous asks, do you think Donkey Kong will return in Odyssey, and what role will he play?
I think he'll be in it. I don't know what it is that he'll do, though, so...
I'm pretty sure they've, confirmed that he's going to be in it. Hell, it's called New Donk City, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, because like Pauline's in charge of New Donk City, and like, it's weird. It's real weird. I can see him just being like friendly now because like they're like Mario and Donkey Kong are friends now.
They said in one of the demos. They said in one of the demos that Pauline and Donkey Kong have made up. So
okay.
He's friendly and she doesn't care.
Right,
I think Donkey Kong lives in the sewers. I think he's disheveled. There's some fur missing. He has mites. I think the only way to... He's got like a crusty old blackened banana peel, and he's protecting it. It's the only remnants of his banana hoard he once had. And that's it. You don't do anything with him. Every time you try to interact with him, he just makes groaning noises. And there's no secret. There's no nothing. That's just his life now.
No.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
It's awful.
Yep. And Diddy Kong's the one who put him there.
Stop it. No.
Yeah.
They're buddies. They're
and
buddies.
Cranky Kong has secretly been juicing and trying to get back in shape so he can kidnap Pauline again.
That's
because
fucked
he's
up.
the real Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong that we see is the Donkey Kong Jr. And then Lanky Kong is the governor, because I don't know.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
That's hideously fucked up.
And then in another room you find the Surfer Kong, and he's just fucking blitzed.
That's probably true.
That's actually the one that happens.
Yeah, Funky is definitely on something in that game, definitely. Alright. Well, that should do it for this episode of the show. I'd like to thank you three for being on. I'd also like to thank you and Scott and Trex and Rose for helping with the coverage, for writing up all those articles. We did fantastic this year. I'd also like to thank everybody for supporting us, for retweeting, reblogging all of our stuff. And I'd also like to ask that you continue to retweet and reblog our stuff. Go on iTunes and rate and review us. It does nothing but help us spread the word of our site. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with a much shorter episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. We'll see you then.